Hello, everybody. So the other day I made a video with a card that had a lot of fancy folding to it. The center popped up and everything. And someone commented, and I'll link to her YouTube videos below because she does planning videos. But she commented that it almost made her want to make a card, but she didn't have all of those things. So it got me started on what could you do if you didn't have very many supplies. And then I started thinking, what would I purchase if I was going to go out and start all over again, knowing what I know now, what would be important to me to have? Okay, and I'm going to show you with one fancy tool, and then the rest is very basic, and then I'll tell you without the fancy tool how it would go. Okay, which this isn't really fancy, but this is a cutting and scoring board. So you can see this one cuts, this one scores. They can pop off and on. And this one comes with 2 cutting blades and 1 scoring blade when you purchase it. It has really nice etched here. There's squares all the way up for every 1/2 inch, so you can see all the way up that your paper's lined up. It folds out on both ends to go all the way to a 12 by 12 sheet. It also has these little prongs you can see on the side of here. So let's say I made a card the other day for Mother's Day that had a pop-up feature, and I haven't made a video on that. I'll get around to it eventually. But I needed to come in and just cut like a 1-inch slit in the middle of my piece. So I knew I could go right to a spot, lay it down on there, and then stop right at the next spot. And as soon as these lined up with where I wanted to stop, that's where I stopped. Because it can be hard to tell where the blade is exactly under these. But this one, you can absolutely tell exactly where the blade's lining up. So that's important, I think. I think it's important to have a scoring tool on your trimmer. A lot of people have separate scoring boards, and I just think that's more money if you're going to get 2 separate things. I think this is important just to have one that does that. And again, this one's very versatile, which is why I like it. Now, this one does run $34.95, so $35. So it is kind of an investment if you're just starting off. The other way you can go is don't get that and instead use scissors and a ruler. Now, these scissors are tiny, so it was kind of going to be hard to cut exactly precise, but you could absolutely put your paper down, use the ruler, a good quality ruler, hopefully, draw your lines with a pencil, and then cut them, especially if you're a good cutter that can cut straight. I'm not very good. But the reason I would say get a pair of these shears like this is because then if you want to cut around a stamped image and get a really, cut around it, fussy cutting is what it's called, then these will work for that. These are self-sharpening and they're very sharp. And if you get glue on them, you can wipe it off. So something like this I would recommend. Even if you do get the scoring board, I would love to have a pair of those. But to start off, I would either do the scoring board or I would do scissors and a ruler. And you probably have scissors and a ruler. Okay, next thing, and it's just a basic block so that you can use to stamp. I'm assuming if you're going to make cards, you're going to stamp. I hope you are. This stamp block has a grid. You could feel it on one side, not on the other. And it also has these grooves in the side so you can hold it. The reason I picked a big one like this, and you can see how I need to clean mine. I always do. I picked a big one like this is because that way you can put your bigger images, your smaller images, whatever you're going to stamp, they're going to fit on here most likely. The other way you can go is a stamp press, which I have one here somewhere, and did I get it out? No. But you can go with a stamp press, and let me pull mine out. I'm sorry, it's going to make some noise. Like this. And this is the Stamp Perfect. I don't know if they're allowed to sell it because I think the Misty people sued them. But it has this. If you use the clear acrylic stamps, you would use this in here. And if you use the red rubber stamps, you would take it out, and then you've got that nice grid. But it holds it in place. You put your stamp up here. Then you're going to stamp here and hold it with the magnet. And then you can press down and stamp, and you can see you've got all this room. So that's another way to go. This is a pricier way to go than just getting one block, though, to start off with. Then, let's see. You can start cleaning your stamps with baby wipes. They do sometimes leave some lint. Get alcohol-free, first of all. They do sometimes leave some lint behind, but you can rinse those off in water. Now, I prefer to clean my stamps a different way now, but starting off, this is how I did it, and this is how most people do it too. Plus, it helps you wipe up your surfaces, your hands, your blocks that I don't do clearly. You can clean those as you go. Okay, you need a nice, versatile which will look better when you get yours than mine does now. I use it a lot. Ink, and I would suggest you just start off with black. You can add colors later if this ends up being the hobby for you, but in the beginning, just a good quality black. This is the True Color Fusion, so it's a mix between pigment and dye ink, so it dries quickly, but you can also use it to watercolor with, or you can get it wet, basically, for any wet mediums. It is acid-free, so you can use it around pictures too. Okay? Just do black to start. And adhesive. If you're going to just get one, I would get something like this craft glue. It has a nice tip at the top that's narrow, and then one at the base that has kind of like a spongy, and you can spread things with it. I don't use that base very often for card making. I just use this top tip. But there are lots of different adhesives to use. This is the one I would start off with if I was just going to get one. Okay? Then let's see here, white paper. I would start off, the way I would do it is to get white paper, a good quality. You don't want it to be too thin. And if you're going to do card making only, 8.5 by 11. You can cut it down this way or this way, and you get 2 cards out of each 8.5 by 11 piece, 2 card bases. So I think that's a great way to go. And then I would just buy the envelopes. I have an envelope, I have a We Are Memory Keepers board that makes envelopes for me in any size I want, but you want the A2 size to start off for a standard card that two can be made from one piece of 8.5 by 11. And these come in a set of, I don't know, 25 or something. Let's see, how many do you get envelopes? $7.95, and I think there's 50 in it. I don't remember. But I will put this below. So you just get your envelopes and some white paper. The reason I wouldn't go with pre-made cards and envelopes together is because you're still going to want this white paper to stamp on. I don't think you're going to want to always just stamp right on your card base. You're going to want to put a little more interest into it. So I would get envelopes and white cardstock. Okay? Then you're going to want a stamp set. Now, I would start off with one. I know that sounds crazy because I'm a stamper and I have a ton. But I would start off with one. And if I were going to do it, I would get something that has a lot of sentiments on it. Like this one, look at this one has big, bold sentiments on it. And I think, what's the only thing missing? There's no sympathy on here, and there's no birthday. But love ya, any of those could count for birthday, really. This one has, it's almost all birthday celebration sentiments, and then it has the confetti too in the different sizes. So this is a good one if you're going to get just one. Another way to go if you're going to get just one is to get something that has birds, butterflies, flowers, ships, leaves, whatever it is that you really like and you think is versatile for what you're going to be doing, plus has sentiments with it. So you could do a really pretty background with just black and white. Take a white piece and stamp like these flowers all over it in black and white as a background, and that would be beautiful. Then do the sentiment, maybe fussy cut around it and stick it up a little bit, or just stamp it right on the page. And I think that would just be beautiful. Add a bird to it, whatever. But I think something like this would be a great stamp set to start with also. Okay, then if I were just starting off, I would want to get some paper that's very versatile. This paper, okay, now you can go to Michael's and you can get those big pads of paper that are very thick, have a lot of sheets in them. They're thin, especially if you get it at Walmart, really thin, and they're not usually double-sided. So what I would end up doing then is I would have this big pad. I would like maybe 10, 12 sheets out of it, and then the rest would just sit there because I didn't care for them. So the way I would go is to get a versatile pack. You see how this one's got the butterflies, it's got the dark denim, the light denim, it's got these bumblebees, it's got red roses, it's got these pretty flowers on a light blue background, these flowers on a yellow with a yellow, red, white, and blue, and some gold stars, and red with gold stars. You can see how there's a card, pretty much a print in here that would do for everybody. And because they're double-sided, let's say you never like butterflies, this dark denim might come in handy though. That's why I like the double-sided papers. Let's see, this is another one that's very versatile. And it is, you've got, again, butterflies. I love butterflies. That's why I always get these prints. But it also has a map. some geometric prints, some checks, another geometric, red and white polka dots, coffee cups. I mean, you can see that this is very versatile for just about anybody you'd want to make a card for. So let's picture you've got these red and white polka dots. You've got your white card base already made, and you're going to cut these red and white polka dots just a little smaller, a square just a little smaller. Then you're going to take your white paper and you're going to cut a square a little smaller than that. I would do like 1/4 of an inch or in each square, each rectangle. Sorry, these are not squares, they're rectangles, right? And come in just a little bit more. Then you're going to stamp. So let's say you did all these black and white flowers around, and then the little black and white bird, and with sympathy or birthday melody or whatever. You can see that that would be very cute, and you're really not doing a lot of fancy stuff to it, but you're going to end up with a really lovely card. So let me tell you what I came up with as far as getting started and what it would cost you. So if you went the route of getting the paper trimmer scorer, which I really think you're going to be happier with than using scissors and a ruler, for everything I showed you and getting just one stamp set, just one ink pad, and this big block, everything I showed you except for the baby wipes, you'll have to do that on your own at the store. It would be $116 plus tax and shipping, okay? If you skip the paper trimmer score and you just used scissors and ruler you have at home, it's going to be $81 plus tax and shipping for the products and the type and the quality I showed you. You can absolutely go to Walmart and get lower quality, Michael's even, and figure out what you like and then upgrade to some of these things if you want. But actually $116 plus whatever shipping and tax ends up to be, I don't think that's a bad deal to start a hobby. I've certainly started more expensive hobbies than that, hook rugs, crocheting, that I bought a ton of stuff and then never stuck with it. So I don't think this is a bad deal to get started. And what I'm going to do, since I got to thinking about making cards with just the basics, I'm going to make a card 3 different ways. First, I'm going to make it something simple with ruler and scissors and just the bare basics and show you what you can do. Then I'm going to take that same design, that same card, and step it up a little bit, and then I'm going to step it up again. So you've got the bare basics, and then maybe you've added a few things on, and then maybe you've added a few more things on. And I'm going to call it a 1, 2, 3 card. Maybe I heard that somewhere else. I don't know. But that's what I'm going to call it, and so that will be my next video in the series on beginning card making. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you learned something from it. And I really appreciate everybody who sticks through my videos and watches them all the way to the end. Thank you for watching, everybody, and happy crafting.